Hello and welcome to a new episode of Hi-Fi Adventures. Today I've got something quite rare on my bench. It's an NAD 300. They were built from about 1975 to 1979. According to the owner, the unit is working, but my job is to check everything and correct everything that I find. So let's get right to it. First, I'd like to show you the features of the unit. It's quite beautiful with blue lights. We have two tape connections here for input and output. There we can switch the tape monitors, source 1 and 2. Not quite sure what this really does. We have the input selector, FM, AM, aux. We have phono, microphone. Light seems to work fine. We have bass and treble. These are separate for left and right. We have the left on the inside, right on the outside. We have speaker selector for off, main, remote, both. There's a special feature, Quadro, that I don't know yet what this does. I have to research this. We can set the meter for left and right. I'm also not quite sure what this does. Maybe it has something to do with the test tone. I don't know. I'll have to look at this. These are for calibrating the tape levels for play and record. These are for radio, muting, mono stereo, subsonic, don't know what this does. Also this and this I'll have to read about before I can tell you. Loudness. Then we have Dolby noise reduction features for FM, play and record. We have volume and balance. Volume on the outside, balance on volume on the inside, sorry. Balance on the outside. This is the tuning knob. And power and the connector for headphones. The unit is quite big and heavy. It's about 20 kilos. On the back of the unit we have two connectors for loudspeakers, so you could connect 4 loudspeakers. There's the fuse. We have connections for the preamplifier to the main amplifier. This switch usually bridges them, but if you remove this and set the switch to separate it, you could connect a different power amp, or you could use a different preamp, or you could even connect something like an equalizer between the preamp and the main amp. Then we have tape connector, aux connector, FM detector. I don't know what this does. Tape 2 input and output, connections for a turntable, microphone connection and antenna connection. I just tried to find a user manual for this unit, and unfortunately I didn't find one. So I really have no idea what these switches do that I didn't know earlier. Usually the first thing I do on these amplifiers is check whether there is DC voltage on the speaker terminals or not. This is done at minimal volume and on an input with no connection, so I set it to aux. This is the right channel. Yes, it's the right channel. And we have about 45 millivolts. This is still about okay. 0 to 50 millivolts is tolerable, but it should be 0. So let's check the other channel. Now it's connected to the left channel. That's 58. So I think we should set or try to set this to 0 again. So the next thing is to open this unit. Welcome to the inside of this amplifier. These are 2 power amps. I'm not quite sure if this is left or this is left. And it seems that someone has been in here in the year 2015 and in the year 2016. It also seems that there has been work done to the right amplifier. They probably wrote the gain of the transistors onto the case. Not quite sure what they did. Maybe they replaced the transistors. This is the procedure for setting the bias and the DC offset of the power amplifier, and also set the output of the 400 Hz test tone. Okay, my voltmeter is connected to the left channel, and the first thing I do is try to set the DC offset. It's done with this potentiometer. Ooh. That's really strange. This should be quite stable. Okay, I'm getting there. It's really hard to set the slightest movement has big reaction. And it needs some time to settle. Yeah. It's strange. It doesn't seem to go lower than 8. Yeah, I'm going to leave it for the moment. Okay, I changed my cables to the right channel. Let's see if this is as complicated as the other. It's really strange. If I come over a certain point, it's starting to go up again. But usually this should become negative. There we go. Now it's negative. Okay. That's about right. I recheck the other one and try if it's getting any better than 8 millivolts. I'm not sure if I should go into the other direction. Yeah, that's about right. Okay. The next step is to set up the idle current of the power amplifier. The manual tells me that we should set this to 25 millivolts across one of these big resistors. And now we already have about 50 millivolts. The unit is on for quite some time now, so this should be more or less stable. We set this with the potentiometer below, so let's try. That's not what I wanted. Why does this not work? 70. 74. Oh, no, that's the right direction. I think I have really bad contact on this potentiometer, and that's why it's really hard to set. Sometimes it's a little bit of a challenge to set this right with potentiometers with bad contacts. They are certainly not perfect after 40 years, and it wouldn't hurt to replace them, but once it's set, it's gonna be fine. Now let's do the other channel. The other one is a little bit on the high side too. Let's see if this is better than on the other one. It's difficult too. I'm turning it into one direction. Sometimes the value jumps around. This is really caused by bad contact. Okay, that's about right. Now I'm going to recheck the DC voltage on the speaker terminals. This is the left channel. That's perfectly fine. This is the right channel. Could be a little bit better. Let's try this. Okay, that's fine. Now that the two main amplifiers are set up correctly, the next thing on the list is to check the output of the 400 Hz tone. And the Dolby module, that's somewhere around here. So I have to remove this cover first. After removing the cover, I noticed something. It seems that someone has replaced this lamp earlier, because it's connected here to the old cable. And there we can see some solder on the cables. That's not really good. I'm going to remove this. I think this probably happened when they soldered these wires together. This solder could cause a short. if it falls down, it connects something that shouldn't be connected. The signal should be adjusted to 30 millivolts AC with this potentiometer. It's almost perfect already. Yeah, that's fine. Now we have to adjust the signal level of this 400 Hz tone. This switch is pushed. This needs to be set to play. Here I can change between left and right. They are both about right. Left is a little bit too high. This is done with this and this pot. This is probably left. Yes. That's fine. This is the right one. I'm going to leave it like it is. Now I wanted to check the potentiometers for scratching noises, but then I noticed that this is not lined up correctly. I'm going to remove it. Maybe this is also not perfect. I'll try to fix this. That looks much better now. Okay, now I check the potentiometers on the front. Not sure if you can hear what I hear. I have now the volume quite high, and if I turn this one, you can hear it quite loud. This one too. Volume seems to be okay. Maybe a little bit sometimes. These are okay. Bass and treble. So I'm going to use this contact cleaner on these two pots. Volume pot. Balance seems to be okay too. After applying the spray and working them back and forth some time, it's much better. It's not perfect, but otherwise you would probably have to replace the pots, and finding a replacement is almost impossible. Whoever replaced this lamp didn't take much care about solder that drops onto the PCB. I'm playing music from the aux input. volume works, balance works, treble, bass, this is the phono input. This works fine too. So the phono preamplifier is fine. I did not yet check loudness. But it works too. The last thing to check for me is FM. Works fine. No problems there. Even the stereo works. The unit is back together and works fine. So my job is done. Thanks for watching.